Let's start right off the bat with what your practice should earn each and every hour you're open and you're in clinic. So I'm going to use a solo practitioner as my example to make this a lot easier to understand. Okay, so here's how you calculate this. You take your total collections for a period of time divided by the total number of hours that you are in clinic and seeing patients. So for instance, last year, if you take the entire year and you're able to, you know what your collections are for the entire year. That's an easy one. But do you know how many hours you are actually in clinic? Not your office hours that you have published, not the amount of time that you're actually there, possibly working, if you're doing a great job working on your practice, or catching up on notes, doing anything. No, when you're in clinic, you and your staff seeing patients, what's that number? You may be able to calculate that, and it may be difficult for you to get that information, but you can start now. And so in a month, you will know exactly what you collected this month and how many hours you and your staff were in clinic and seeing patients. And then you do it for the next 2 months, you do it for 3 months, and in no time, you'll have one full quarter, which will give you a pretty good idea of exactly how much you generate every hour you're open and seeing patients in terms of revenue for your business. Now, the average that we've worked on in top practices is $550 an hour. That's your average doctor. The top number that our doctors are operating at is about $1,350 per hour. Now, $1,000 an hour that you're open and seeing your patients and collecting should be a good goal to look at. I'm not saying that that's your goal. Everybody is different, but 550 should be for you the minimum amount that you're willing to accept for your business to produce. Everything above that, will take you, if you're at $1,000 an hour, you're going to be pretty happy. But, we could talk about what that number really would be for you. Because I say everyone actually is different, can handle different amounts of volume. Of course, one of the goals is to be able to handle the optimal amount of volume for you and your practice. We're going to talk some more about this, and I'll explain that. But first, let's get back to what's even possible in these really complicated, difficult times that you're practicing in today. What's possible? So this is what I would call a textbook top practices podiatry practice. So my textbook doctor produces $1.2 million in a year with her well-trained team during regular business hours, last year using no physician extenders other than her staff. No PAs, no NPs, nurse practitioners, simply the doctor and the staff. Her optimal volume is 32 patients a day, 4 days a week. Now look, everybody's different. Some people struggle at that number. Other people think that sounds like a low number. But with a staff that is trained to produce with you and scribe with you, any podiatrist can actually do this. Any podiatrist that's willing to try. To some of you, this might sound about right. To others, it seems high. And for some of you, this sounds low. Everybody's different, and you can find your correct number. And we'll get to that a little bit later as we move through this. This also assumes, by the way, that in that last year, that this doctor took 3 weeks of vacation. Okay, that's an important thing. Everybody needs to take their vacation. And this translates, if the practice is well run, into a very profitable practice. I mean, you'll be able to pay yourself all in. That's your salary, any draws, retirement, personal expenses that you're taking out of the practice. You'll be able to pay yourself over $300,000. In fact, the average that our top doctors make that take the time and effort to pay themselves every year in this way is about $405,000. So that gives you an idea of what's possible. That's not a guarantee. It's completely up to you. And some of you make more, some of you make less, but we can just show you how.